What's going on, everybody? We have some good news and simultaneously we have some bad news as well. So yesterday we saw our biggest outflow since the election, and last week was a new record with inflows topping $3 billion. So we'll talk about that. We also have a miner reporting after the bell, but I think this is a good lesson here. Sometimes we'll have a horrible day, but follow the bigger picture. What have we just seen? A record week, an amazing week with $3 billion of inflows. An occasional red day is normal, a take profit day. There will be red in this bull run. There will be red along with the green at times. Let's start with this outflow news. The spot ETFs on November 25, so yesterday, saw outflows of 437 million. This is the highest single day fall since election. Even with this pullback, institutions are now holding over 5% of Bitcoin's market cap in these spot ETFs. And despite that rough day, BlackRock is still sitting just a hair under $50 billion in assets under management. They're at 47 billion right now, cumulative net inflows of 31 billion. These numbers are obviously different because Bitcoin has risen in price. So their net asset value is higher than their inflow amount because of Bitcoin's run up overall since inception of these ETFs. Now let's look at the positive, cheerful news. During the week of November 18 to 22, so last week, ETFs saw net inflows of $3.38 billion. This is basically double the amount of inflows they saw last week, or the week before, I should say. And this represents the largest recorded weekly inflow for the spot ETFs. It's also the 7th consecutive week of positive inflows. Perhaps this week is the first week of negative inflows after 7 weeks of positive inflows. If you see the bigger picture, you'll see that the spot ETFs and Bitcoin are going to continue seeing money flow in. This bull cycle is far from over. And according to CoinShares, this is interesting, digital asset investment products have already brought in $37 billion of inflows year to date. These Bitcoin ETFs have already outpaced the gold ETFs, which only brought in $309 million in the first year of trading. Spot Bitcoin ETFs have blown that away. Now, quickly glancing at Bitcoin, you'll see that this descending pattern was broken, and we did break this roughly 94,000 area that I mentioned the other day. Right now, we have a shred of hope. If we hold this ascending pattern and continue filling this broader pattern that I was talking about, so far we are bouncing off this level. If we break down from this, we might see some pain. One thing that's a positive I want to show you guys, yesterday I showed you some bearish divergences. Now we have some bullish divergences. You'll see that the RSI is starting to pick up here on the hourly, so keep that in mind. The price is dropping while the RSI is rising. This is a bullish divergence, and we might see a reversal soon. Based on Q4, based on past cycles, I would expect a reversal. I wouldn't expect we continue down, but if we do continue down, you better take advantage. There won't be many opportunities over the rest of this cycle. In my opinion, this could be the final one if we see a good correction. The best buying opportunity was back in August, 49K back in August. We are not seeing that price again until potentially next crypto winter, if even then. Now, I do want to talk about Iren. They are reporting after the bell. They're expecting an unprofitable quarter. They're expecting a record revenue, however, so that is nice. That despite the halving taking half the rewards, from a revenue standpoint, Iren is still killing it. Their hash rate growth has made up for the cut in rewards, not from a profitability perspective, but from a hash rate perspective and a revenue perspective. So far, all the miners basically have reported unprofitability for Q3. I'd expect the same for Iren. That's what they're expecting. What I'm really looking forward to is Q4, basically when Bitcoin started moving up. Q3 was where Bitcoin pulled back to 49K. That's a bad quarter for the Bitcoin miners. Q4, when Bitcoin ran all the way nearly to 6 figures, that's going to be a great quarter for the Bitcoin miners. And we still have December to look forward to see where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin holds most of its gains, or dare I say runs and breaks the 6 figures, these Bitcoin miners are going to post an amazing Q4. Even if Bitcoin pulls back a bit, I still think the Bitcoin miners will report a great Q4. Now, one thing I'm watching for Iren, this might break. If we have a bad earnings, we might break this ascending support, but I'm watching this kind of a broadening pattern here. We have been finding resistance on it, and we have been finding support on it, so follow this general pattern. Earnings might break it down. In general, I do expect Iren to fill out its longer term pattern. It was only a measly $1 back in 2022 at the bear market, and now it is hovering around $10. At its peak this cycle, it was about $16 before pulling back, before we saw multiple bearish divergences. And I do think Iren is set to head back to the top end of its channel, to the profit-taking area of its channel, if we have a good earnings, if we see some good forward guidance, and if Bitcoin holds its level. If we get a bad reaction on earnings, which is possible because Q3 isn't going to be great, this could be one of the last buying opportunities for Iren. I don't think Iren is going to be a fantastic buying opportunity at many points in 2025. There might be one point in 2025 where we see a good correction. But in my opinion, the time to be selling these Bitcoin miners is 2025, not the time to be buying. The time to be buying was 2023. 2024. We've had right around 2 years at this point to be buying the Bitcoin miners. The time to buy has pretty much passed us, in my opinion. Any more sizable corrections for the Bitcoin miners could be a final buying opportunity, but I don't plan on chasing them in 2025 on a good pullback, especially if we're talking about late 2025. Now, if you didn't watch my last video, don't forget that PCE is coming out. This is going to be tomorrow, and this could change the Fed probabilities. Right now, we're looking at a almost 60% chance of a rate cut and a 40% chance of leaving rates current. This has changed from yesterday, as you guys can see. So keep an eye on this. PCE coming out will likely change this. We also have PPI and CPI coming out before the Fed meeting. Those are 3 big inflation indicators to look out for coming up, with of course PCE coming out tomorrow. So far the market is favoring a rate cut. But thanks as always for watching, guys. What are you buying today? Take advantage of any red when we get it over the rest of this year. You don't want to be chasing too much in 2025. Don't get swept up in the FOMO. Keep your emotions in check, and we'll have a great rest of the cycle. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.